Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Perry, also known as Books Aren't Boring, and today we're going to have a slightly different video than we normally do, and not in the way that I always say, like, this is going to be a different video. I mean, like, actually, this is going to be a different video. Like, we're not going to be discussing books today. We're going to be discussing protagonists. So, without further ado, I have a list right here of the top 5 types of schoolbook protagonists that you will encounter during your school readings. So here we go. Also, I got a ring light. Yay! Which means that it might reflect into my glasses if I look too far up. So I'm sorry, but I did move the thing, so hopefully it's like shining above me and not directly in my face. I would like to make the disclaimer that not all of these are necessarily bad protagonists, just ones that you see a lot when you're reading, so keep that in mind. First up, we have the strong, independent woman. Normally this is seen in like the Jane Austen novels because she seems to be the popular woman writer, because we can't have more women writers in historical fiction. How could we? But yes, they're normally hers, specifically looking at Jane Eyre. I have many thoughts about Jane Eyre that we will not be discussing because I don't remember enough of it to write a proper video about it. Just kidding, I might do a video in the future, but for now, I need to distance myself from it, even though it's been over 3 years since I last read it. This woman will almost certainly get married at the end, especially if it's a Jane Austen novel, because both Jane Eyre and Elizabeth Bennet both got married at the end, and it seems to be like independent woman subdued by man, but that's not actually what it is. If you read into it, that's not the point, but you know, you could interpret it that way. They're also very relatable, or they're very not like other girls. There's no in between. It's like, you're either like, wow, she doesn't want to follow the path of just marrying a rich man, or wow, she doesn't want to do art, she wants to read and wear all black, because that is so much different. And I get that like deviating from the norm was like a lot different back in the day, but that's still something that I find kind of funny. Jane Eyre was the original not like other girl. These characters might also appear in the form of a side character. For example, Julia from 1984 could be considered a strong, independent woman because she was one of the people who was like trying to rebel against Big Brother. So she did not get married at the end, however, if you know how that turned out. Check in the corner. If not, it's over here. Check this corner to see my 1984 video. Woo, callbacks. So, the strong, independent woman is a character that you will not see that often, but when you do see her, it'll be very obvious. Next is the jaded, middle-aged man. Now this one is very, very common because that's the kind of demographic that authors were writing to at the time. So they're like, if we make all of our main characters jaded, middle-aged men, then they can relate to them and be like, I am helping the dystopia get overthrown. Because you know how a lot of like YA protagonists are like 16-year-old teenage girls. That's what they were doing, except for middle-aged men. So I can't fit all of my examples of this, but we have like 1984, we have Fahrenheit 451, Brave New World. He wasn't exactly middle-aged. I'm just going off of not a teenager, middle-aged. And there's like so many others. All Quiet on the Western Front. Yeah, there's just a lot of them. Because why wouldn't you want to read a book about a not teenage man going out and trying to save the world, only to fail because it's a dystopia and the world can never be fixed? Because why would we want a happy ending? Happy endings are for kids. We die like men. We get sad endings. There's no good ending in this world. He's also probably in an unloving relationship if he is in one at all, or he just objectifies women or hates them, or both. Who knows? 3, we got the Shakespearean protagonist. Now this encompasses a lot of people, and there's probably some subsections of this, but I'm going to keep this as one whole person category because generally Shakespearean protagonists have a certain air about them that's not the same from anything else, so I can't fit them into other categories. It really depends on what genre the main character is part of. So if they're like a tragedy main character, they might just be really emo or like want to save the world but end up dying, or they're already like really sad and just not doing well. Or if they're a comedy protagonist, they'll be really witty and cool, and that's about it. I haven't read any other Shakespearean things, so if you know about the Shakespearean protagonist, please enlighten me in the comments, because Shakespearean protagonists are always wild in one way or another. Just look at Hamlet. Just look at Hamlet. The drama of it all. Then of course we have Much Ado About Nothing, which is sassy protagonists interact with each other. The rest of them are either boring or also sassy. Or scheming. Somewhere in that range. I don't know how that fits. I feel like that's not really a scale, but you know. Next up we have the jaded teenage boy. This character is not as common as the jaded middle-aged man, but it is still common, and I can't leave it out. The main example of this would be Holden Caulfield, but I'm sure there's many other ones out there, and basically it's just an aged-down version of the jaded middle-aged man, except generally the jaded teenage boy does not have as much power as the middle-aged man would. For example, while Winston from 1984 was trying to overthrow like a dictatorship, Holden Caulfield was trying to overthrow the fact that he was sad all the time. So the scale of their issues is not as great, but they still have the same principles in them. They still have the probably hates woman trait. They're the most adjacent to real young adult novel protagonists in that they're teenage boys and the beliefs that they have generally like align with people, except they don't have like superpowers or anything, because why would you want to read a superpower book in school? That'd be so weird. I'm mostly going off of Holden, as you can see, but he usually believes that being offensive is cool somehow, not in the way of like saying slurs, just doing shocking things. He also, that ties into his weird personality trait of pushing people away because he thinks that he's too big brained for them, and then being like, why don't I have enough friends? And it's in fact because everyone thinks he's annoying and pretentious. You see, a lot of the problems that the jaded teenage boy protagonist archetype faces is that they could just be nicer and all of their problems with other people would go away. Not saying that would fix all their issues. They could still have a character arc where they, I don't know, go to therapy or something. But no, can't do that because we need an engaging story. Interesting. Why have him deal with his emotions when you could have him travel across the world and kill people? I don't know. That's probably a book plot somewhere. I have not read it. And last but not least, we have a literal child. This one is mostly based off of my experiences with To Kill a Mockingbird, because obviously Scout is like 6 in the story, but I feel like there's some more stuff that's like based around the children's perspective, and I get why they do that, because it's more of a like perspective looking into the world kind of thing than just trying to be like, oh, I'm different, the protagonist of my story is a child. But it's still kind of weird because their thoughts are usually aged up from what an actual child would think. Not saying that children can't be like smart and aware of their situations, but some child characters are just way too aware of their surroundings to the point where you start to forget that they're actually only a child. They're under 10 years old. Children may not lack critical thinking skills, but there's also some stuff that's like kind of off. And I understand where that comes from in To Kill a Mockingbird though, because Scout is writing this as an adult and this is like her child view of herself. It's still kind of weird, if you get what I mean. Also, in the cases of analysis, generally the literal child is given a little bit more leeway in terms of their perspective on things. So when you write essays and stuff, you usually have to take into account how the child is seeing the things versus how the adult might see the situation, because obviously they're two different ages, they're two different times in life where you have different information about the world like at those times. So you can't really fault a child character for not being as aware of something as an adult character might be, but also because the author of the book is an adult, you can't totally like take the blame away from the child, because obviously the author has a responsibility to address certain things. So that part of having child protagonists is just very odd, and like props to the people that are able to do it without making it seem really weird, but there's a lot of nuance to it, I think, even though it isn't that common, and I've only read one book. I'm sure there's plenty of other ones, as I've said before. Yeah. So, to recap, we have the strong, independent woman, the jaded, middle-aged man, the Shakespearean protagonist, the jaded teenage boy, and the child. Now, which one do you think is the best for reading? Write your answers in the comments below, write in, standing by at the phone. I guess the middle-aged man would probably be the best, because it's basically like having a blank slate character, because the authors that make their dystopian protagonists, middle-aged men, generally just think that making them a middle-aged man who hates their life situation is enough personality to help them carry the entire story, which is often not, which is why a lot of people latch on to side characters. But that is a totally different discussion. So hopefully you don't mind the kind of short video today. This is kind of a celebration of back to school video for me personally, because I went back to school this past week. I know that if you live in anywhere that's remotely normal, you probably don't have school yet, but if you do, good luck, and thank you for watching this week's video. So please subscribe if you like my content. I have more book related videos coming up soon, so please stay tuned. So thank you for watching. Bye.